For them, the ethnic identity is important. Nation comes later. Whether this will be successful or not, seeing the killings. Let me share with you that not only the killings, people have defected. Officers from the IRGC have joined the protesters.
Breaking news, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization.
They have resigned. They have refused to take orders from the present regime. This is also happening in Iran. Everybody's interests are there in this region. Iran is a civilizational nation. You will never find knee-jerk reactions or hollow promises from civilization nations. So I believe, come what may, even if you are cornered or if you are being obliterated, a civilization nation will never collapse. It will always stay there. You may bury a civilization for thousands of years. It will again emerge. And this is what is happening with Iran.
Namaskar. Welcome to Sangam Talks. Today we are honored to have within us Colonel Mayank Chaubey, a veteran from the Indian Army, and he'll be sharing his esteemed wisdom on the Iranian situation that we have, and obviously talk about the civilization impact that Iran creates around the world. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show. Well, we have heard a lot of talks about Iran, some talks about the impact of US, the sanctions of US, devaluation of the economy. Very few people actually talk about the civilization story of Iran. And that is something that is very important. Starting from the Iranian revolution of the 79s, and then how the Islamic radicalization took the country to where it is right now, from where it was at that point of time. Going forward, what do you see the future of the country would be? The impacts of the sanctions and how we as a country, we as Bharat should react to it. So these are the things that would like you to share your knowledge upon, starting with Iran as a strategic actor. So your views, sir.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Vikas, for inviting me on this platform. And thanks to Sangam Talks for giving me this opportunity to speak through them, I must say, to the world. You have touched upon a very important subject. People are now viewing Iran just as a strategic placement. And you picked up a certain thing and you touched upon the word civilization. So I would like to touch upon the civilizational aspect first and then come on to the strategic aspect, if you permit.
Sure, sir.
So if in case you study the history of Iran dates back to maybe around 6,000 years back. We have heard of the Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamian civilization, as we know, it came up between the two rivers, Tigris and the Euphrates. And they were flowing in Iraq, Syria,
Correct.
Kuwait. That was the flow. Rich, fertile plains, ideal for a civilization to flourish. As you know, all the civilizations, they came on riverbanks. So the civilization was flourishing, and we owe a lot to this civilization. And I have put this in 3 words, and you can say law, L-A-W. L stands for law, A stands for astronomy, and W stands for writing.
Correct.
So if you see, these 3 aspects have been taken over by the Mesopotamian civilization. We have heard of Hammurabi, the person who gave a written, a framework of law. So Hammurabi has derived everything from the Mesopotamian civilization. When it comes to writing, they had clay molds where they used to take imprints, and this imprints used to transfer to languages. Today, there are around 12 languages which are based on what the Mesopotamians used to do. Writings has been covered, law covered, astronomy. What they had done, they had divided the entire sky into constellations. They gave us that 12, the entire year would be divided into 12 parts. And a week will have 7 days. 7 days named after their gods. And they came up with a sexagesimal system,
Oh,
60s. That is, every minute had 60 seconds, every hour had 60 minutes, and a complete round had 360 degrees. So these are the things which the Mesopotamian civilization gave to this earth. So you see that Iran, and popularly known as Persia, has a lot to speak about. It's not just Ayatollah Ali Khamenei
very true, sir.
or Tehran or
Very
the
true.
protests. So we are speaking of this rich cultural background. King Cyrus came, he attacked the Babylonians, the Assyrians. So one can go on and on and on. The Persians came and how they came up with a few symbols. The Iranians call them Nishani-e-Irani in Persian. And they have Sher-e-Khurshid. It's a symbol which has come from Zoroastrianism. And the Persian dynasty has picked up that symbol and placed it on its flag.
Correct.
And then came the year 1979, when the Islamic Revolution takes place. And you'll be surprised to note that Iran owes its nuclear development system to a country which later attacked it.
Oh,
Yeah. So in that area, they had something known as the Atoms for Peace. And Atoms for Peace was being run by Israel and Iran.
that I know, sir.
You know that.
I know.
Secondly, irony is that the country which helped build infrastructure in Iran finally came and bombarded it in the year 2024,
Five.
25.
25.
25. And that country was
Israel.
Israel. The Irani secret service used to be hand in glove. They used to share secrets with Mossad. But came 79, Shah Reza Pahlavi fled that place. Ayatollah Khomeini took charge. He came from Paris. Now, France also plays a very important role in the history of Iran.
Iran.
So they first of all go and change the flag. And the flag was changed in three parts. 79, they adopted a symbol in the center. They removed the Sher-e-Khurshid, the lion which is holding a sword,
Right.
because they wanted to eliminate all signs of Zoroastrianism from.
So all the symbolisms were removed.
Yeah. So they remove these things and they place a symbol there. The green and red, and in between the white strip. The green and red has a script. I'm forgetting the name of the script, and it reads Allahu Akbar. So Allahu Akbar, rather being a religious slogan, became a slogan for destruction, if we speak of Iran. And they adopt a symbol which is now in the official flag of Iran, so which came out in the year 1980. I would love to share with you how the symbols changed, how the flags changed, how the Iranians till date. I had the opportunity of hosting a group of Iranian diplomats, and they exchanged these symbols with me, these figurines with me. Now, as you know, Islam prohibits the display or exchange or anything concerning a figure.
Correct.
But the Iranians, they proudly exchange such things. That means to say that the Iranians are still deeply rooted in the Persian culture.
That's the point we want to talk, sir.
Yes,
The
sir.
civilization that they cannot forget even if they want to.
Exactly. So what happens is you can suppress a civilization for some time.
Correct.
But as the spring goes, you keep suppressing, compressing the spring. It stores energy. And at one point of time, the spring will reassert. When the spring reassert, it goes up to the normal and it goes beyond normal. So when the spring comes to the stage of normalcy, the country or the civilization or whatever the case may be is perfectly normal. But when it crosses the normal while reasserting, you see a lot of upheavals, bloodshed, violence. This is what we are seeing in Persia or Iran. You just name the Gulf in front of an Iranian, he will correct you and he'll say that is the Persian Gulf. So that is the feeling which is very deeply rooted in the Iranians, which probably Ayatollah Ali Khamenei failed to suppress. And that is why you find these upheavals in the society. A devaluation of currency, I say it may be a trigger point.
Correct.
But the exact requirement of the public is not currency, it is something else.
So, if I want to ask, if we go back into the history, not as far as 79, but up till 79, there have been quite a few revolutions. And some or the other way, they have been suppressed. Do you see this revolution surviving? Or it has mellowed down a bit with the number of killings that have happened? Undocumented, around 10K. Documented, around 3,500. So do you see it surviving, sir? Or making a change in the country?
Okay. See, the previous revolutions, if you call them revolutions, they were hovering around symbolism. Girls and ladies, they were coming up, they were discarding the hijab, they were burning the niqabs publicly, dancing around. And the things were being suppressed by the IRGC. So they came down very heavily on these. But now what I find is that it has taken a very different shape. If you compare the ethnicity which prevails in Iran, you'll understand why this thing has not been successful till date. If you see the central part of Iran, predominantly Persians, 40.3%, I think, ethnically, they are present there. If you look at the eastern part of Iran, you will find the Baloch, 17%. Bordering Pakistan, they have a Sistan.
Southeastern.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have the Sistan, Balochistan.
Balochistan. Correct.
When you go up north, you will find the Azeris. Now, the Azeris, they don't want a independent Iran. They have a different thought. Azeris want independence and then they want to merge with Azerbaijan, that is the neighboring province. Then, if you move toward the northwestern side, you have the Kurds. Kurds are around 10%. Kurds, they want a separate Kurdistan. Then you move slightly down on the western borders, you have got Arabs. Arabs, they don't want to stay in Iran, they want to merge with their Arab partners. And they are hardly 2 to 3%. So if you calculate all these ethnicities, you find that the Parsis or the Persians are left with only 40.3% or so. So 60% people are not aligned to what the Persians are doing.
Oh.
So they may be fighting for freedom, but
their own...
the reason is different.
Correct.
You can compare this with Pakistan.
Okay, the 4 states,
Yeah.
right?
So if we compare it with Pakistan, Balochistan wants independence.
Balochistan.
They want an independent Balochistan. And the
Sindhis want the independent Sindhu Desh.
Sindh, they want independent Sindhu Desh, then they want to become a conglomerate with India.
Okay.
Okay. When you go to Gilgit-Baltistan or you go to the POJK, they are really troubled by the fact that the Indian side of Jammu and Kashmir is flourishing.
Correct, sir.
But we aren't.
And we are deprived of the resources that have been extracted, similar to Balochistan.
Exactly. And you'll be surprised that in POJK, the SIM card is issued by the army.
It's the Fauji Foundation.
The Fauji Foundation. So there are only 2 types of SIM cards available and you have to go through the armed forces.
Which is a state control in itself.
Then you have Gilgit-Baltistan, where the police is protesting. Why? Because they haven't got pay. And they don't want the Punjabis to come and dominate over them. So they are on a different league. Then you move to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Pashtun, they want to
Go back.
They have not accepted that Durand line exists.
Exactly.
So if you want to speak to an Afghan and you name the word Durand line, he'll turn his face around because he doesn't accept it. The Afghans, they are basically tribesmen and their brethren are on the other side of the so-called Durand line.
Right, sir.
So for them, the tribal identity is important. So there is a lot.
They have never accepted the Durand line for that fact, right?
Exactly.
On either side of the border.
Either side of the border. So what happens is you can compare this with Iran. For them, the ethnic identity is important. Nation comes later.
Second.
Now, why are the protesters aligning with the Shah, the Pahlavi dynasty?
Right.
Now, Reza Pahlavi is sitting in the USA, and he went there in the year 1978, and he wanted to become a pilot, and he went there for that training. Ever since, he has not returned to Iran.
Country.
He married off his third daughter in Paris. Now, you see, Paris is very important when we speak of
Iran.
So he marries off his third daughter in Paris, and what I heard is that his son-in-law is a Jew.
Oh,
And this happened somewhere just before or during the Iran-Israel war. And he made a mention that this couple will go to Tehran to celebrate, and they will have the honeymoon in Tehran.
Oh.
Now, that raised a doubt as to why was he giving this statement. And from that very day, I started following his Twitter handle.
so this was like how long back?
This was around a year back.
A year back. So the
He
planning.
made an open statement.
Okay.
That means he had designs for Iran.
This is interesting.
Yeah. So I kept observing as to what Reza Pahlavi wanted to do. And slowly, gradually, he gets the backing of the Westerners, and you find the protesters raising the flag of the Pahlavi
On the
dynasty.
consulate.
Yeah.
Correct.
So the Pahlavi dynasty flag with the Sher-e-Khurshid over it being raised and waved in the protesters' rally. So this is how things are progressing. You asked whether this will be successful or not, seeing the killings. Let me share with you that not only the killings, people have defected. Officers from the IRGC have joined the protesters. They have resigned. They have refused to take orders from the present regime. This is also happening in Iran. There's a clampdown on information, but yes, I have got my good friends who keep passing this information.
Okay.
Names I don't want to take who all have defected because their life will be at stake. But there have been cases. What used to happen earlier was any person showing intent of defecting onto the other side used to be eliminated.
Correct.
Elimination becomes a deterrence. Elimination becomes a method to finish off a thing so that the others don't take ideas from that person.
Right. They don't get inspired.
Yeah. So it worked two ways. But now people are openly defecting, going to. You would have seen that video on social media. There's a young girl who has picked up the photograph of Ali Khamenei.
Yes.
She burns it and then she lights a cigarette. So there are many things which are being said in this video, which people would need to understand. So what is happening is that now people are not fearing death. Death
Exactly.
is the ultimate. So if you don't fear death, then
Nothing can stop you.
nothing can stop you. So what I find that slowly and steadily, Iran is drifting towards a side where they would like to throw the mullah regime out. But lack of leadership is one issue which I find there. So lot of violence, lot of upheaval will be seen. Suddenly Trump developed cold feet and he withdrew from Iran. He was all set to attack them. And then he said that 800
So we
people.
had the tankers flying in, the KC-7s, and we have the aircraft carrier coming in all the way from South China Sea. We were
Germans-
waiting for action to happen in a week's time.
Exactly.
And suddenly everything died out.
Die down. Because it is in the interest of the Americans that Iran keeps on boiling. If Iran is aflame, Iran becomes a potent threat to everybody in the Middle East or West Asia.
So a strong Iran is a problem or a collapsing Iran is a problem?
See, Iran itself is not a problem. Iran is a boon for the Westerners. I will turn the question in this way.
Okay.
Okay. So if Iran boils, Israel is scared, Saudi Arabia is scared, Qatar is scared, Oman is scared, the entire Middle East is scared. And if you are scared, what you do? You want to enhance your security. And whom do you look up to?
Obviously.
You have
That's an
answered the
obvious
question.
question. We look up to the Raytheons,
And if
we
you
look up
recall-
to the Lockheed Martins,
Yeah,
or the world's.
if you recall, 2 weeks back, Mr. Trump, he gave a statement that our military complex is thriving because we are now supplying weapons to NATO.
Has it not been surviving all throughout by creating wars? I mean, the whole economy is a military industrial complex.
At this point, if I say that the military industrial complex, it dictates term, it won't be understatement.
So the deep state is well rooted
Yes.
to get it things done.
Yes.
So boiling Iran, non-functional Iran is in the greater interest of the industrial complex.
Everybody.
Everybody's interest.
Yes.
Right. That's true, sir. So coming back to the same question, how has Iran, or how is the policy of Iran to be a proxy state, creating those proxies that have been fighting in the Middle East? Talk about Hezbollah, talk about Hamas, or talk about Houthis as well.
The 3H.
Has this been a state policy for Iran?
I won't be able to say that it was a state policy or not, because it is not a stated policy.
Okay.
But everybody knows that these three organizations are being supported by the Iranians. And this entire region, it's a big confusion or a big mess, you can say. There are evidences where 25 fighters from Hamas were being trained by the SSG of Pakistan. Now, you have a situation where Hamas is fighting Israel, Hamas is being supported by Iran, and Pakistan is also very keen on Hamas. So, it's
So it's a shadow war that we are fighting?
I won't say that we are fighting,
Not us. I mean, like,
but then, yes, the entire world, I won't say that it's a shadow war or a war. Everybody's interests are there in this region.
okay.
So, everybody wants to be there, but they don't want to dirty their hands. So, Mr. Trump comes up with a formula that, okay, I'm going to invite 60 states. You pay $1 billion each and become part of the Gaza Peace Board. I will be the boss, and Mr. Tony Blair will be my second in command.
And you will foot the bill.
You will foot the bill. So, whatever wrong happens, you all will be responsible. Why only me? And you come up with that money. Poor Pakistan, you tell them that you pay $1 billion. The country which has put their Fauji foundation, जिसको कहते हैं हिंदी में गिरवी रख दिया है,
Yes.
with the UAE, है ना? And you are asking that country to pay $1 billion. Isn't it an irony? But Pakistan would love to be on the
So it's Pakistan.
table.
So Mr. Trump is asking Pakistan to invest $1 billion when it has been going around literally with a begging bowl asking IMF for $1 billion in bailout packages.
So there's a very interesting question. Vikas, I think it was on 25th of September 2025 that the Crypto Council of Pakistan, it joined hands with Mr. Jared Kushner.
Right.
And yes, something was there. I wrote on that. And incidentally, an Indian publication turned on my article saying that, no, this is a very transparent deal. I said, I'm so sorry. This is meant to transfer funds to Pakistan.
Exactly.
And of course, we have those people who won't believe what the truth says, but the truth is the truth. In the blast which happened in Delhi, you found the same currency dealings in various places where these terrorists were nabbed. So the links are pretty obvious. One has to just join the dots. You'll come to know what exactly is happening. Mr. Jared Kushner and Mr. Steve Witkoff, they traveled to the Kremlin also. I think it was the 2nd of December 2025 where they had a 5-hour meeting in Kremlin discussing what? Peace in Ukraine. They come back, they discuss the same thing with their NATO allies. And where they discuss as to how to support Ukraine in the Ukraine-Russia war. And then when these two gentlemen walk out, NATO sits and mulls over as to how we protect our Greenland from USA.
US invasion.
So to the Indian viewers, I can say that please keep your popcorn ready. Enjoy. Don't even think of what is happening. Just enjoy what is being unfolded in front of you.
Right, sir. So circling back to Iran, why did Israel not launch a full-scale war and eliminate the entire threat in totality? Well, Iran is still issuing threats, and those threats are literally quite serious. Where US had to evacuate its personnel from the bases across Iran. Oh, sorry, surrounding Iran. So why has this not blown to a full blown war and like eliminate the threat? Yes, the interests are supposed, the pot has to be kept boiling, so the interests are nurtured. But with the perspective of Israel, why did it not eliminate the threat once and for all?
Okay, so how did the Iran-Israel conflict start? It started through the aerial route. A number of drones were there, targeted killings were there, IRGC bosses were taken out, nuclear scientists were taken out,
Right.
and it started. The Israeli Air Force, it flew. Did the Israeli Air Force fly on its own?
No.
It was being protected by the American planes.
Protected and refueled.
Exactly. So the Americans were involved in helping Israel to carry out the offensive. Not that Israel is not capable of doing that, but then they required the support. Uh, Unfortunately, Israel is not that type of a geography which can take a very big hit. Israel was taking a big hit from the Iranians. Iranians had around 3,500 odd missile pieces, and they were pounding Israel like anything.
Right.
We saw that the Iron Dome was
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. The sling of David,
David slang.
everything was there, but then they were taking a beating. Israeli ground forces had reached a nuclear facility by the name of Fardo.
Yes.
Fardo had a centrifugal
Centrifuges.
centrifuges. They were involved in enriching uranium, weapon grade uranium. As per my sources, was around 450 kgs, which was available with Iran when this war started. The ground forces, they reached Fardo. They found that Fardo was a deeply entrenched facility. The ground forces didn't have the wherewithal to take it on. So the Israelis request the Americans to help them. So the Americans warned that we are going to come after you, we are going to come after you, and they spend around 10 odd days telling them that we are coming after you, and then finally they
Okay.
attacked Fardo, they attacked Natanz also. 12 Tomahawk missiles were fired from the sea, and Natanz was also fired upon, Fardo was also taken down. International Atomic Energy Agency says that there was no radiation leak in case of Fardo. I think, Vikasji, 10 days is a good enough time to shift 450 kgs of enriched uranium from Fardo to a distant facility.
We all know what has happened to that enriched uranium.
There was a time when 3 military planes were allowed to take off from Tehran, and they flew off with diplomats and various other people. This never came to the light, and when this news came to my sources, they informed me that these 3 planes are going to take off. And when they took off, the basic question was that the entire Iranian airspace was being dominated by the Israeli Air Force. How can 3 planes take off from Tehran without the permission of Israel?
So the safe passage was planned and
I don't know, the safe passage, or it was a negotiating team which was flying from that place. And suddenly 4 days later, we find that a team in Geneva sitting and discussing a peace plan, a ceasefire was being discussed. So lot many things happen in this world.
So, is nuclear Iran a bigger threat than a cornered Iran, which has a nuclear weapon?
See, Vikasji, Iran is no Pakistan.
Correct.
Okay, if we want to consider what sort of a thought process prevails in Iran, keeping everything aside, Iran is a civilizational nation, if I am allowed to use that word.
Of course, it is a
India again is a
civilization state.
China is again a civilizational nation. You will never find knee-jerk reactions or hollow promises from civilizational nations. So I believe, come what may, even if you are cornered or if you are being obliterated, a civilization nation will never collapse. It will always stay there. You may bury a civilization for thousands of years. It will again emerge. And this is what is happening with Iran. So, will they use a nuclear weapon? My simple answer is Iran is no Pakistan.
Right. So now, very important question, the international question rather. The three interests of the three big powers of the world, US, China, and Russia in Iran. Everyone has their own interest. Venezuela being cut off as an oil supplier to China. Now, Iran is again facing the same threat. How do you think China will react to this supply gap of essential oils, which is like amounting to a 35 to 40% of the total consumption that they actually from these two countries?
Okay, the question of oil. Venezuela supplies oil to China. 4% of the demand of China is met from Venezuela. Likewise, 17% of the demand of China is met by Iran. Around 20-21% gone.
Okay.
Maximum oil flow for China goes to the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran is cornered, Iran is left with only one alternative, and that is to block that 22 kilometers of.
A threat that they have already always.
They have already given in the Iran-Israeli war toward the end.
Yes.
If you corner Iran, Iran has a way to do this.
And with those small speedboats that they have, they
just
can be
block
very,
it.
They
You
can be
just
very
block it.
agile in undertaking such operations.
So no power on earth can remove that blockade. It's impossible.
It's 22
Now, what
crore.
happens is that Iran should be sufficiently strong to take on that. And that is the reason why the Chinese planes are landing at rapid pace in Iran. What are they bringing is a mystery, but they are landing at a regular pace there.
Okay.
So, Iran is being supplied by, I don't know what. I'm sure they are not getting Chinese silk. They are definitely bringing some hardware which will be required for the defense of Iran.
And are those hardware going to be effective? We saw them, how effective they are in Venezuela and in China.
Because
And obviously in Cambodia as well.
even if you have a stone in your hand and you are being faced by a person with a rifle, when pushed against a wall, even the rat bites the cat. Don't forget that.
Right.
So even if you are a rat, but if you are pushed against the wall, you might bite the cat. And Iran will not think twice in biting the cat. It has the fangs, it has the teeth, and the canines are pretty sharp.
So the raids that have been happening across Iran, especially in those areas cornering Pakistan, how do you see that? Those caches that have been caught and some have gone missing.
The Starlink, if you're
Yes.
speaking of Starlink, if you're
Correct.
speaking of the weapon systems which have been caught in Bushehr province.
Right.
Yes, people are trying to fuel the protest. Interests are there. But then suddenly a container in Karachi port goes up in fire.
Right.
It was carrying, I don't know what, but then suddenly it goes on fire and it was consigned to the Pakistani military, the Fauji Foundation. So how can such things will happen? Iran is no less. If you try to create trouble for Iran, then you will be troubled. So it's a very interesting thing which is happening, and that is why we are observing. We are observing and we are acting. Because India's interests also lie in Iran. Safety of Iran is important.
Here comes the question about India, the Chabahar conundrum. How does India take the sanctions that have been waived off as an extension for a couple of months at a time, recently been waived off till June or maybe March, I guess.
April
I guess.
26.
Okay. So why not remove it in totality? It has been affecting Afghanistan, the supplies that we've been sending to Afghanistan. Obviously for other reasons also, but the grain supply that we have been using Chabahar port as a supply route for Afghanistan when the road routes were not feasible. Pakistan did not want us to supply them. So how does India take Chabahar, would independent Balochistan help the cause, or does the sanctions being extended couple of months at a time mean something to India?
Okay, I'll share a map with you which shows the INSTC.
Yes.
Now, INSTC, if you take the erstwhile route, there's a blue line which goes all across, and then there's a red line which goes straight through Iran. Straight through Iran, Moscow is reached within 7,500 odd kilometers. The bigger route is way, way, way too long.
45 days.
So what happens is Chabahar. Now Chabahar is not the end. We are not manning or doing everything with Chabahar. We are there to help them operationalize one terminal in Chabahar.
One terminal in Chabahar. Right.
There are two terminals in Chabahar. We are helping them operationalize one of them. It is on sovereign Iran soil. Number two, Iran, the citizens of Iran are manning that terminal.
Correct.
India is not manning that terminal. Now, people in India and the world over are jumping with joy that India has been asked to move out. I would address this to all these people who are jumping with joy. Has there been an official statement that India has been removed from that place? Has there been a diplomatic note saying that? Has there been an official statement coming from Iran that India will now vacate?
It has not.
Shutting down of a website, movement of a few people, does that mean that we have left that place? See, the government in India knows that come April 2026, people who are working there in Iran and the company which is manning that terminal will come under sanctions. So the government decides to safeguard the interest of an Indian company and the Indian personnel, and they decide to take them back. भाई आप जब तीर चलाते हो तो तीर को पहले पीछे खींचते हो and then you release. So can't this step be pulling back the arrow so that the arrow is hit? I would leave that to your audience to understand this. Taking a step back, when a lion takes a step back, he is trying to gain momentum. Try to understand this. Every step back doesn't mean withdrawal.
So, about the future of Iran, where do you think it is leading to, and how do you see Iran like getting its glory back, the civilizational glory that it had, with the son of the Shah coming back, or without the son coming back and the people, or maybe a distant possibility, a couple of small staggered states being created and then getting merged, Kurdistan, Balochistan, and maybe Azerbaijan, as you mentioned.
So what I see is that the Irani pot will keep on boiling because their protests are strong, everything is going on fine, but I don't find a leader leading the thing. And that is why Reza Pahlavi is trying to step in. That is why you will find the Pahlavi dynasty flags being flown in the protest. People are
not
now,
just the protests, sir, in the consolidates as well. People are raising up.
Yes.
People are
They
taking
are
down
bringing
the
down the
flags, and they're raising the old flag
dynasty,
back.
Pahlavi dynasty flag. So people want him to be there. I don't know whether he'll be able to take on that responsibility or not. Because after 79, 78, he has not been to Iran. He might be connected virtually, but you have to have a leader who has a foothold, who understands the public, who has stayed there. Will the younger generation align with Reza Pahlavi? That's the big question.
They have no connection.
Yes, because now you want something to change.
Correct.
You are finding somebody who might be speaking your language, so you start shouting those slogans. But are you ready to accept him as your leader is a big question. So it is yet to be seen who will take on the reins of this so-called revolution. Will there be a face which will emerge from Iran, within Iran? I don't see any such face emerging. The interesting part is that the revolution is being run by the common man,
By the people.
by the people. Yes, Reza Pahlavi is trying to make some noise. Whether he'll be able to gather that strength to enter Iran is a $1 million question. Because for a leader to come, he has to be on ground. Ayatollah Khomeini had to land in Tehran, and the 79 revolution, Islamic revolution, took place. So the leader has to be there.
Right.
Without the leader being amongst the revolutionaries,
So there has to be a banner and a leader.
Yes.
We have got the banner.
they have
We
got the
need-
banner.
They need a leader.
Exactly. So the leader has to be amongst the people to take it on.
So would it be right to say that Iran doesn't want a nuclear war, it wants insurance?
Any country which has nuclear weapon capabilities, I would say, would never like to have a nuclear war.
They understand the impact.
Yes, they understand the impact. Although only the US has used these weapons,
That's true. That's a
but nobody wants a nuclear war. But, and in the same breath, I would say that come what may, Iran will not press the nuclear button. Yes, a dirty bomb can be there, which has a localized effect. So what happens is, if a chain reaction is not happening in the fissile material and you explode the thing, so radiation will leak and that becomes a dirty bomb. So a dirty bomb going, yes, I won't deny that. But a full-fledged nuclear weapon being fired, it's debatable.
So how much of an impact those 3,500 missiles can even have on any other country? You're not directing all of them to Israel only. You send some to Qatar, you send some to maybe Saudi Arabia. Those bases or camps are getting the alerts way before their impact, and they have been vacated. So localized impact, one missile out of 10 hitting the base, not much of an impact. So what is the deterrence if they're not having a nuclear weapon, or if they have a nuclear weapon, they want to make a dirty bomb out of it?
Okay, Vikas, this is my understanding that they won't use a nuclear weapon.
Okay. But if cornered, they can use the dirty bomb.
Who's stopping them from using a nuclear weapon also?
Yes.
This is my understanding that they won't do it. But who's stopping them? They had already warned Qatar before they bombed.
Qatar.
Yeah. So they sent missiles. The missiles flew. They were targeting the military base. But they didn't target the military base. They gave a warning. Qatar airspace shut down for 2 hours. The missiles came, didn't destroy anything, and the things were peaceful. So many things are happening in that area. Keep observing, keep the popcorn ready.
Okay. That was quite inciting, sir. And I hope we'll do many more such podcasts and keep talking on Iran and keep the audience engaged. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure hosting you today, sir.
Thank you so much, Vikas. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.